Welcome to Magic Self and Spirit podcasts. Welcome to Magic Self and Spirit. I'm Steve from Magic Self and Spirit, and today with the podcast we're going to be discussing spirit guides, mediumship and moon magic, which is incidentally the title of one of our books, and the next course we're running in our spiritual CrossFit gym is the place where we do the training that starts this Thursday. So I wanted to run a podcast about spirit guides. They're always a very popular subject of questions, and people always asking for information on spirit guides. So we thought we'd run this podcast and link it all up with our courses and our books. Hello Lee, good morning my friend, good evening to you. So any questions you may have as we go along, feel free. April will let me know that they're there, and we'll go from we'll go on from there. So straight into the subject: spirit guides, mediumship and moon magic, how to get connected. Welcome to our journey of connection to your spirit guides and the spirit worlds. We invite you to join us as we open opportunities to connect with your soul family and learn to hear your spirit guides. Now, this is a really big one that happens quite a lot, is that it isn't so much the connection with spirit guides, it's actually much more the fine tuning, you know, the seeing, the hearing, the feeling, the touch maybe at times, that kind of thing with spirit that people kind of get hung up on, really. It's like these are subtle senses. Now everybody's going to experience differently, so there's going to be some people that experience extraordinarily vividly, but usually with one sense, usually either auditory or visual, occasionally, well not occasionally, quite often with the kinesthetic sense as well. So there is that kind of feeling with working with spirits when you first start, particularly working with spirit guides, that is very much like trusting your subtle senses, and by trusting the subtle senses and working with them over and over again, that whole sense of familiarity and being able to experience them happens really quite quickly. Experience how we use guided meditation, what we call transmutational meditation. The way we use it can break open a whole range of obstacles for you, so you can, you know, channel your mediumship or connect to your guides or your ancestors, etc. And to deepen that connection, what we do in the course is very much about how to deepen that connection. What we do in the course is very much about how to use moon magic to be able to break through, because moon magic obviously has that kind of psychic feel to it as well. So we put all of those together when we're doing the training, when we're doing the teaching, and that's how we work. I've just got a question in. I've got two questions in. Do I have a spirit guide or guides? Yes, Dawn, you have. You've got about 4 working with you at the moment. There's a whole number of others that are ready to work with you when you step onto the path a little bit more and as you begin to develop. But at the moment you've got about 4 working with you. One of them is your gatekeeper, which we will cover later on. And there's another 3, as I say. They all seem to be related to past lives. We'll come back to that. I'm not going to give you the names as yet, but we can begin to build on this. Alida van der Bank. Hi there. What or who is my spirit guides? Well, this is what we're doing at the moment on this podcast, Alida. So we'll carry on working with that. The who is, there's one particular female guide that's working with you massively right at the moment. Probably your gatekeeper. That is kind of what I'm getting as she's beginning to come in. Okay. So what I would say to you is, what if you were to break with religion, science, atheism, and the other parts of the herd mind? Are you ready to carve out your own spiritual and magical path? Wouldn't it be more beneficial to develop your own spiritual team for that journey? Spirit guides and mediumship are great starting points for the novice and the adept alike. In our book and course, Spirit Guides, Mediumship and Moon Magic, we work with a powerful form of guided meditation we've called transmutational meditation. We use it to open doors for you to begin to explore your latent spiritual and magical power. Imagine you had at your disposal a human guide intimately familiar with the spirit worlds. He could give you the tools to map the first parts of your conscious spiritual journey. Well, you do. It says here, Steve, but I'm Steve, can start you on the path to your healing into your power. This is very, very much a fundamental part of my work, working with different relaxation states, different trance states, etc., different breathing states even, to really begin to connect with your spirit guides and also your mediumship, to show you how to work in the spirit worlds and to show you how to really sort of build up that energy, build up that connection, so you can work with spirit all of the time. Let's see, we've got a few questions in. Sarah Lee Tebot, who are my spirit guides? This is what we're going to be covering in this podcast, Sarah Lee. Do you have a name for my guide? That was Leslie Lynn Forney, I beg your pardon, Leslie. You have a number of guides with you. The main one is a male guide dressed in kind of, you know, that the nearest I can describe is that kind of leather jerkin, leather hat sort of armor kind of thing, but made out of leather rather than metal. And his name is Mishan. Leslie. Brenda, can you tell me name of my guides? Why are they there not helping me with my journey? They are helping you with your journey. We'll work on that, Brenda, very much. So, yeah, I can give you one of the names. You've got a number around you. You've got an Isabella with you, who it seems to be your gatekeeper. We'll come on to that in a little bit. I'm getting lots of name of spirit guides questions. I'll answer some as we go, but I've obviously got to do the podcast as well, which we're covering. So, your most important guide, Catherine Casaval, is a female guide beginning with M, something like Mersha or Mersha. Mersha. Doesn't look to be... Looks to be very kind of Arabic kind of feeling. Maybe not Arabic, but that kind of thing. That part of the world, Catherine. Okay, so, who are your spirit guides? Spirit guides are part of your soul family that travel with you through many lifetimes. You work together to grow and develop spiritually. Getting lots of questions in, how do I find out who my spirit guides are, which is exactly what we're going to cover on the podcast. So I've seen your question, Leah, okay? How I understand spirit guides is that they are part of the soul family that I travel, or you travel with, through time. In some lives, individual spirit guides will be incarnate with me and will be soulmates, sometimes romantic, often just profound connections. In other lives, they'll be with me from the spirit worlds, forever reminding me of my spiritual evolution and magical path. I also perform the same service for them, either in lives they live where I'm not physically alive, or in parallel realities. It's a symbiotic relationship, and as time is not linear, as in as time doesn't go in a straight line, the whole of the relationship is available in the now. So when you begin to connect with spirit guides, when you begin to connect working with spirit guides, it's about you can get all of the history, all of the future, and all of the nowness and all the different realities right now in the now, through meditation, through questions. When working with your spirit guides as part of your soul family, you can safely assume that they already know pretty much everything about you. They know how far along your conscious spiritual magical path you are in this life. They know if in other lives you've experienced greater knowledge and power and can help you access it again. Another way of saying that is your spirit guides already know what spiritual growth would benefit you. So you haven't got to be telling them or whatever, because they're so much on this journey with you. It's such a symbiotic relationship. It's such a powerful relationship that they already have that information about you and are already working. So even if you're not already directly conscious of them, that process has already started. And probably because you're now on this podcast and you're asking these questions, etc., we're now talking about you beginning to get ready to consciously be aware of and be able to connect with your guides and get that kind of information. Spirit guides and chaos magic. The spirit guide's sentient human relationship is complementary. It's a journey of mutual power and self or spiritual growth. From my perspective as a chaos magician, I consider spirit guides as a useful and powerful tool to deepen my spiritual magical path. Let me explain. Chaos magic, it kind of sees everything as an illusion. However, due to the hermetic principle of polarity, as in if you have one, you have its opposite. Always in pairs in experience, okay? Due to that polarity, chaos magic will see everything as real simultaneously. So in my mind, everything is illusion, so I can work with whatever I choose because it's illusion. But by its nature, if everything is illusion, everything is real, so I can work at either end of that polarity, depending on what I'm doing, depending on what it suits me. So I will work with spirit guides in that particular way. Okay. The only important thing for me isn't about whether it's real or not. It's about, does it work? Absolutely. When it comes to spiritual work, when it comes to magical connection or spiritual connection or whatever, the major question to me is it practical? Is it pragmatic? Does it actually work? Or am I talking theory to a group of people? If it doesn't work, I'm not going to work it. I'm not here just to kind of, I don't know, play philosophical games, really. I'm here actually to do practical work in the end with spirit and with magic. Spirit guides are part of my journey of knowledge, the godlike power of omniscience, if you like. They give me the ability to look into what magic would be helpful to change something in my reality. And that's one of the major ways I personally work with spirit guides now, is I talk particularly to Dana Ray, my gatekeeper, who in a number of lives was a magician anyway, and very much about what approach to bring about this magic now. Or I've done some magic, I've let it go, I've left it alone, I've walked away, I've let go of the connection and the attachment to it, and I'm returning in a couple of weeks to have a look. Okay, where's the energy now? And I can work with my spirit guides that way. Leah Hall, are my spirit guides separate from my ancestor spirits who might be guiding me? Yes, they are. Quite often, usually, although sometimes your ancestor spirits may cross over. It's a different set of arrangements in terms of how I understand it, Leah. But saying that at the same time, there is massive crossover between the two. There's massive, it's like two different lines of energy, but they kind of cross over like this, that kind of approach. So yes and no, but primarily I work with spirit guides as separate from my ancestral lines. And Cassidy, any advice from my spirit guides? Lots of signs at the moment, but battling to get the message. Love, light, and amazing energy to you. Thank you, Cassidy. Well, the advice really is to step into a place and start working with people like ourselves or whoever else may be around you, that can actually show you different techniques and skills to begin to connect there. I would say going in that kind of way is coming from your guides at the moment. They're saying Cassidy is very much trying but getting stuck in what's real, what isn't real. Did I just imagine that? Does it work for other people but not me? A whole range of emotional things, if you like, in that context are in the way, and there's a little bit of frustration here as well. It's actually much easier than you're making it, Cassidy. To understand what I've just said about the relationship between sort of magic and spirit guides, clairvoyance, etc., I'm going to get April to put a link into the bar here, the content bar here, about our book. Sorry, not our book. Our blog, Chaos Magic for Beginners. Very much begins to open that up for you. My guides also soul journey with me. What I mean by that is quite often they talk about astral projection or shamanic journeying, those kinds of ways of journeying. There's another magician called E.A. Coetting who talks about it as soul travel. And I agree, because his argument is very much there, the astral is only one of the planes that you can travel, but soul travel allows you to travel on all of them. Anyway, my guides travel with me across those planes of the worlds of spirit. They help me access knowledge that would otherwise be lost to my logical mind. In effect, they're the access to my higher mind. As the first Hermetic principle states, the Hermetic principles were the very early ones that came out of ancient Egypt, okay? All is mind. The spiritual function is indispensable. So you can connect to spirit through your mind, because everything is mind and you're already connected to them, okay? Spirit guides are nothingness. In the first week of our course and book, Spirit Guides, Mediumship and Moon Magic, we'll teach you how to connect with your spirit guides and build a relationship with them. We show you ways of using your mind to give them form and substance. Okay, so this is very much what some of the questions are about. It's how do I connect in? It's via trance, it's via meditation, it's via breath work, it's via using your mind like a zoom lens on all of your senses. It's all of that kind of work at a very basic level, and we add other things in there to open you up further in order to be able to connect. As part of my development a number of years ago, I sat in what they call a full trance mediumship circle in Avalon for 4 years. Avalon is the ancient home of paganism, and it's based near Glastonbury in Somerset in the southwest of England. I had a teacher called Sally, and she was what they call a full trance medium. She was also one of the priestesses there, and she would get herself into meditation, and because she worked in complete trance, she would totally leave her body. And this being called Chong Fu, which is one of the Eastern names for wisdom, would take over her body completely, and all of her personality had gone, and all of his incredibly large, big personality would take over. And he would teach the classes, and we worked with him once every 2 weeks for 4 years, for up to 12 hours at a time, that kind of thing. Full trance channeling involved the human part of the equation, so Sally, the priestess, totally leaving her body, and the spirit being Chong Fu taking over completely. he would then communicate with his voice through her voice box, if you like. And it was a very, very unique form of working. Now, I don't tend to work like that a lot. I can a little bit, but I don't tend to work like that. I tend to work much more about just the clairvoyant connection. I can feel spirit here talking to me. I will repeat it to you. But there are some people that work very much in that surrender place. They let go of their body completely and spirit take over and communicate with other people. Chong Fu explained that in reality, spirit guides only come into being at the point that they're evoked or invoked. So, because all time is now, and because spirit guides are part of the all, the Great Spirit, when you communicate with them, they step out of the Great Spirit as unique beings that work with you from your soul family. But the rest of the time, they're the the Great Spirit collective. And that's what I mean. In terms of working with reality, in terms of working with magic, everything is real and everything isn't real at the same time. And when you can hold that dichotomy, you can do the magic that way. Connecting with spirit guides then is an act of creation. It absolutely is. You call, evoke, call to, ask them to step forward, activate all your senses, including your imagination, because imagination is the gateway to spirit. It is the creative faculty, and spirit is the energy of creativity. And they step forward and they communicate with you. It's like, because when something is everything, it's also nothing. If you think about the word nothing, no thing, no one thing. It can't be one thing because it's everything. So no thing. And it's both sides of the equation. It is everything and nothing at the same time. For this reason, guides are both individual and a unique expression of the everything at the same time. Hence, spirit guides are the great mind, and they're the key to omniscience. Spirit guides are the first step to building your clairvoyance. I have Regina Tanya here. Gatekeeper Guardian, are they the same? May I please be given names of my guides? Regina, Gatekeeper and Guardian. It depends on the tradition you work in. There's certainly similarities, but no, I wouldn't say they're the same. Gatekeeper is, and I'll cover this in a little bit more detail in a moment, okay? Gatekeeper is the one of your guides responsible for your journey spiritually. Guardian quite often comes from traditions such as Western high magic, ritual magic, the white magic of the magicians of the Golden Dawn, etc. And they are the holy guardian angel, which is like the highest part of you, your greatest potential. They're not quite the same thing. They have different frameworks to work with. So yeah. Regina, may I please be given the names of my guides? I will give you one, Regina, because of time. You have a male guide from about the 1600s, dressed in all those silks and has got a sword and Arsenian or Arsenian, I'm getting his name to be, is the name he's giving me. I'm seeing as white guy, wavy blonde hair, eyes that are a little bit crazy, but in a fun way, not in a negative way. Very kind of alive, very kind of buoyant. has got some past life work with you, that kind of thing. That kind of work. Okay. Spirit guides are the first step to building your clairvoyance. In order to connect to your spirit guides, you need to develop some conscious clairvoyance skills. We will lead you through several meditations to unblock your connection and teach you to hear your spirit guides. Your guides are uniquely qualified to support you on your path to growth and omniscience. They operate as a powerful tool for opening up your spiritual and dreaming mind. Okay, I've had a long journey as a professional clairvoyant, probably in excess of 60,000 professional readings now. And my personal experiences, I find my guides are excellent at helping me lock into the energy of other people. It's particularly useful when reading for clients or students, as it accesses the knowledge that I require in the moment. If you've been on the Ask Spirit calls, you may well have seen me connect to my guides and the guides of others really quickly, and that was something that we used our spirit for, to develop speed, so we could get more readings in, so a minute to 90 seconds. Yeah. You can book a reading with me. They're available from 5 minutes, etc. April will put any links in there. I think she already has. So what I would say is they're very useful. I find them indispensable both in terms of my magical practice and also my own personal development. I love having their support as we journey in the spirit world together. We map the more subtle planes and paths of spirit, moving deeper and deeper into the collective consciousness. This one is actually really difficult to explain until you start doing it, really. But there are paths of spirit that we all share as humans. I would say this has taught me such a lot and has given me many layers of experience. What we're looking to do is create the same experience for you when you're ready to step on your path. Using the guided transmutational meditation will lead you down the path of connecting to your guides. And just from experience, knowledge of working with this for a very long time, I can take you there and bring you safely back. And that way you've got it all mapped in your mind, you've got it all in your memory, and then you can begin to start working in the spirit worlds on your own without me necessarily leading you there. And that is the real crossover. Your guides will look after you and protect you as you begin to develop. That's their job, and they do that really well, particularly the Gatekeeper. So the first week introduces you of the course and the book, introduces you to your spirit guides and builds connections. You will learn invocation and evocation and ways to access the knowledge, skills and power of your soul family. So what is your spiritual gatekeeper? Your gatekeeper is responsible for the organization of your spiritual and magical practice in the spirit worlds. She or he determines, at least at first, which energies or spirits can enter your auric field and connects with other guides to build your path. And that is the primary job of your gatekeeper. So Regina asked earlier on, is the gatekeeper and the guardian the same? Although the functions of the gatekeeper sometimes are the guardian, the protector, etc., it's only part of it. The guardian, as in the guardian angel or the holy guardian angel in magic, has a completely different function and a completely different role. At different parts of your spiritual journey over the years, you will have one guide or another or a number that are more important, stepping up to fulfill a certain thing and then seeming to withdraw and come back, another guide or guides come forward. However, throughout all of this, the most important of your guides is your gatekeeper. For nearly everyone, the gatekeeper will remain consistent throughout this life. There's going to be one or two other people where that isn't the case, that they change gatekeeper. I did, for a whole range of past life reasons, but even then, if a being stops becoming your gatekeeper, they're very likely to continue working with you as a guide. It really is a very special connection that you can have with spirit in this particular way. So in week 2, we'll introduce you to your gatekeeper. This will enable you to start a more powerful part of your personal journey with spirit. When I'm working with my clients, my gatekeeper, Dana Ray, organizes which of my clients' guides can speak with me. If there are more than one, in what order those guides will communicate. So do I need a gatekeeper? Well, yeah. To be honest, they organize your spiritual experience, so whether you do it consciously or otherwise, they're still going to be working with you. This relationship is profound. It's a soul level connection that'll empower your path and understanding. I experience a great deal of gratitude for my gatekeeper. She's led me to an energetic place of spiritual strength where I don't need to do clairvoyant work with her anymore. Now, what's really interesting is, without Dana Ray, I very much would not have reached that place of being able to connect with spirit immediately, being able to do readings at a high speed, etc. That was very much the work with Dana Ray and others, but Dana Ray particularly. But now Dana Ray isn't a necessary part of my clairvoyance. I've reached a certain point. It's a bit like growing up, I suppose. You get to a certain point and you do it yourself. Or most people do it themselves. One of the things that I love most about her is her role, my gatekeeper this is her role in helping, educating and supporting those people that I'm directly connected to. Often she brings people into my life who are seeking the kind of work that I do. And I also regularly receive reports from others that my gatekeeper has visited them and helped them with one spiritual project or another. Today we work in like a kind of partnership, empowering our magic and helping others. The work with your gatekeeper can become a lifelong partnership and friendship, a cooperation that will fulfill your life in ways yet unimaginable. I'd say to you, come and join us in your exploration of the deeper levels of spiritual connection. Build up your spiritual power. An important starting point for this, particularly the clairvoyant part of the journey, is the conscious journey with your gatekeeper. Week 2 of the course connects you with your gatekeeper as your protector, teacher and organizer of your spiritual experience. They are the great warrior spirit that will show you how to claim your knowledge and power. Claire Starbuck, could it be someone you know that becomes your gatekeeper? In theory, Claire, I guess so. I think it's unlikely because your gatekeeper tends to work with you from birth. So if it's somebody you know in life that dies and becomes a spirit, it's unlikely, but I wouldn't rule it out completely, obviously. Although we do know that some close spirits of people who will incarnate with us in this life sometimes work with guides and become a guide in that sense, it's unlikely they become the gatekeeper. But not impossible. Just the relationship's different. However, as I said, these are part of our soul family, the guides. So there are going to be some lives of you've had that you lived with your gatekeeper in human form. And you'll know them from that way as well. I certainly have in a number, and wrote a book about one of them called Imogen the Dreamer, which we will be re-bringing out pretty soon over the next number of months. Wait, there's more. Connecting you deeper Week 3 is dedicated to how to work effectively and clairvoyantly with your guides. So week 1 is connecting with your guides generally. Week 2 is connecting with your gatekeeper. Week 3 is how do you work with them. So we'll explore a range of techniques together that you can work with, which build the solidity of your immediate experiences with your guides. Now, a very interesting thing happened on that particular journey in my training so many years ago now, 20 years ago or whatever now. You know, at one point, Chong Fu, that spirit that I told you that my teacher would do full trance channel with, that was our teacher really, he said to me, "Beloved, you do not need to evoke your guides every day now just for the sake of evoking them. You already have the connection, and it would take a very powerful magical ritual to now break that connection." And really what he was saying there is not don't evoke your guides. He was saying that connection's already built, but you had to build it. So going back to somebody else's question earlier on about why they weren't really working with them, I can't remember who it was. They are, but it becomes a conscious process. The whole point of guides is that you begin to work with them consciously. You begin by evoking them, calling them in, working with them, connecting with them, meditating with them, doing ritual with them, doing it all to get them into your consciousness, to get them into that way that you can particularly work with them. You can see them, feel them, hear them, taste them, whatever it is. Your other senses have a connection with spirit that way when you begin to build it. But for most people, yes, there are some people born as natural psychics or whatever. Agreed, I was. But for most people, it is about building the connection. It is about doing a range of meditations and exercises and evocations and everything you can to call your guide or guides into your perceptual area around you, so you can actually sense them, see them, feel them, whatever it is that you start with. It's not they will just appear to you out of the blue and that's their job. No. If anything, I would say that at a particular stage before you start working with them, they're learning to work with you, you're learning to work with them. They're reducing the speed of their vibrations because they're not in physical reality, so they're not used to it, so they have to bring the speed of their vibrations down. You're raising yours by invocation, by meditation, by calling it up. You're raising those vibrations, you're increasing the speed. It's not a right and a wrong, it's just we're in material reality, and material is denser than, you know, air, if you like, you know, denser than spirit. So they withdraw theirs, you raise yours up, and it's like a lock and key. You come together and eventually you're locked in, and then you're completely aware of them all of the time. And that seems to be the big process and how to go about that. I got a question from Alida. What's my gatekeeper's name? I think I answered that one earlier, Alida. Or I don't know whether I did with you. I answered that one so many times. You have a whole number. What my gatekeeper's name? Marcos. Marcos, you've got some kind of Latin guy from... Looks like last time he lived was about 600 years ago. You can use that name to start imagining and chanting, and you'll begin to build a connection. In the last week of the course, we work with mediumship and recognizable ancestors. Mediumship is that where you go to a medium and they say, your grandmother's here. She said she left the shoes under your bed, and that your brother hasn't paid back the $20 that he owes to your aunt from 3 years ago, or whatever the spiritualists do. I don't mean to belittle it in any way. It's amazing stuff. But mediumship is that kind of working with spirit. It's that kind of working with recognizable ancestors. And we explore ways of connecting with the recognizable souls of your beloved dead. We also teach you how to do this for others. We found that many spirits who have... Sorry, I'll take that again. We found that many students who have a natural affinity towards mediumship, they've often experienced layers of anxiety and even intrusive thoughts. This is because these people have an untrained natural ability to sense earthbound spirits. Often, before training, these students have no way of discriminating which thoughts and feelings belong to them and which to spirits. As they build a practice to develop their mediumistic skills, they find that these thoughts and emotions begin to reduce. Finally, they leave altogether. And it's very interesting. I've come across this a whole number of times with students who are particularly attuned to mediumship. Recognizable ancestors, ghost spirits, that kind of thing. Is often they're infected by the emotion of spirit, lost spirit, somebody who's died recently, got lost on this plane, can't get to the next plane, that kind of thing, or ancestors with issues, if you like. They often sort of pick them all up and they're very anxious themselves, but they don't know why they're anxious, they don't know what it is, and it's because it's not their emotion in the first place. They just have the ability to connect in without even being aware of it. Mediumship can play a very powerful role when helping others who are who are grieving to emotionally heal their losses. You can access the answers they are seeking by allowing yourself to become a bridge. You can establish communication between the loved ones of your clients who have passed and the person asking for their help. It's not particularly a range of work that massively is about the way I work, but there are some very powerful journeys, and I've had a number of students who were natural mediums. I've got one or two at the moment as well who were really natural mediums, and it was their role to really work between, the souls of your loved ones and yourselves in order to bring about healing and peace and connection. Working with recognizable ancestors can also be a vital link when healing the ancestral wounds. The ancestor can often take you back in time along your bloodlines. Here you use magic, ritual or other healing work to correct an inherited emotional, physical and or spiritual obstacle you may be experiencing. The work is very powerful. There are ways that you may well have experienced or experience a whole range of issues, whether they be physical, emotional, sexual, spiritual, whatever, that have come down your bloodlines. You as a person didn't start them. You didn't do anything to create that. These are inherited energies that come down your bloodlines. And one of the ways of working with mediumship this way is that you can find a recognizable ancestor and you can journey with that ancestor, either yours or your clients, back through time, back down your bloodlines to the ancestor who's passed that originally created these problems one way or another, and then you can correct those problems and correct your experience, not only for yourself but also for other people too. So you can work with someone and go on a journey with them or for them down their bloodlines, correct an issue and solve some physical problems that they've inherited via DNA as opposed to anything that they've done themselves. So how does our work differ from others in the field? If you learn spiritual connection with magicians, you open up to a whole range of options that really are beyond the experience of many others working in this particular field around working with either spirit guides or recognizable ancestors. For example, when we're teaching it in this way, we're working with the magic from different phases of the moon in order to influence and connect you to your spirit guides in a way that the average clairvoyant just wouldn't know how to do or wouldn't even be interested in. We will lead you to connect to different angelic-like spirit beings who exhibit great spiritual power, and by working with them can open you up to a very powerful spiritual connection over time in a way that just working with guides wouldn't. When you do this, your mind and your consciousness will expand in a way you haven't yet experienced, and your connections and clairvoyant skills will flower. Now, one of the reasons that we've already taught this course, one of the reasons we're teaching it again is the next course after this one, in a month or so's time, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, is more advanced clairvoyance. So what we wanted to do was make sure everybody got connected to their spirit guides, to their ancestors, etc. And then be able to use that energy and those skills in a more advanced way on the next course. So if you're ready to start working with your spirit guides, jump in now. It's your time. The opportunity's here. Transmutational meditation combines the experience of being guided by someone, me, who knows this work intimately, storytelling, moon magic or sorcery, magical symbols, and ancient spirit beings. Working this way imprints knowledge and spiritual power on your unconscious mind, which results in an acceleration of your spiritual growth. The relaxing meditations combined with active daily practices create a grounded way of working. This will open your belief in your ability, still anxieties, and supercharge your growth. Jump in now. Start your journey of magical and spiritual power. Connect to your soul family and get the guidance from Spirit you have been looking for. We know the way. We can show you. I've got a few questions in. Tarquin Storm Evans. Would appreciate a name of a guide. You've got a guide called Thomas. Interesting, Tarquin. Seems to be a priest from about the 1300s. I think English by the look of it. I think he's actually your gatekeeper. There's a real path of knowledge and wisdom for you that's available. Jade Lee Oswin, please may I have a name of a guide if I have one. You've definitely got guides, Jade. You have a guide called Letitia. She is the one that's coming through at the moment. She last lived in the middle of the 1900s, so I don't know, 150 years ago or so. She was very advanced in her last human life in clairvoyance, mediumship, connecting to spirit, and was actually part of the movement that helped bring forward spiritualism into the Western world again after obviously it had been undercover for hundreds of years. Regina, may I have my gatekeeper's name? Senora. Senora is the name of your gatekeeper. She's appearing quite young. She's appearing like kind of late 20s, early 30s, that kind of age. Very vibrant. Very much to bring about some kind of happiness in your life, Regina. Very much about working with you to bring lightness onto your spiritual path. She said you've managed to bring heaviness a number of times. Karen Weiss, hi Steve. Are one of my ancestors my guides, and if who? Yes, but not playing a very prominent role, Karen. These are more soul family. But yeah, you do have an ancestor. Just trying to look at where this is. He seems tribal. Possibly even, and I don't know whether this is the right word for history. You'll know much better than you do. I do, because it's your part of the world. But possibly even a Zulu. But there seems to be some ancestral thing here, Karen, but that ancestral connection seems to be a very long time ago. There does seem to be a very interesting crossover in your ancestry where you're not one of the early generations of Europeans living in Africa. You are, it's come round in a circle. You've also got tribal blood in yours, going back into ancestry, going back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years by the look of it. Okay, guys. Before I go, yay Brittany, thank you. You're very welcome, Leah. Good morning. Faedra, I think you pronounce your name. What a nice name. Any other questions before I go? Cynthia, I'm not going to tell you who your guides are because you're going to be on a course with us starting Thursday, and that's exactly what we're going to do, so I'm going to let you find out yourself. Okay, guys, it's been fabulous working with you. It's the end of the podcast. Thank you for coming on the journey with us. If you're ready, come and jump in. Come and train with us in the Spiritual CrossFit Gym. We start on Thursday. Lessons and transmutational meditation is recorded on separate videos for you in the group, and you get a copy of the book where it's all written, so you've got it all in written form as well. And also once a week on a Thursday at 12:30ish my time, so 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock South Africa. I don't know what time South Africa is at the moment because all the clocks are moving around the rest of the world. 6 o'clock in the UK, 6:30, about that kind of time. 1 o'clock Eastern time in the US. I open up a room in the Spiritual CrossFit Gym for students to come and talk about whatever they want to talk about, whether that be the course or experiences or whatever. Anyway, guys, great connecting with you. Come along, come and join us. And if not, if you kind of want to check this out further, I'm available for readings or consultations in this way, and I think April has put in the link somewhere in the live feed. Anyway, guys, take care. See you Sunday on Ask Spirit.